This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars. The Bluegrass Method, cutting-edge basketball training with Scott County's own Michael Richardson.
Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Lady Cardinals Girls Basketball Coaches Show, the Christmas/New Year's week edition. We have two tournaments to talk about, one that's in the past, one that's in the future. First one took place at Lexington Catholic High School before Christmas, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was kind of a sandwich with nice bread and a not so nice filling, let's say. They won the first and third games, lost the second one, first loss of the season. Let's get that out of the way and talk about it. They lost to South Warren, another undefeated team, another high-scoring team. Dominated the tempo, got hot early in the game. Big early lead, and Scott County just couldn't dig its way out of it. Got back to within, I think, 12 points, 13 points in the second half, and ended up losing 84-64. The night before, a win over Hazard that wasn't really pretty because Hazard controlled the tempo, but SC did enough to win to move to 9-0 at the time. Then, of course, we mentioned the loss to South Warren. Coach Helton was worried a little bit about his team's chemistry, worried about how they're going to bounce back in under 24 hours to deal with a tough Boyd County team. Did they ever bounce back? And it was a wild one. 18 lead changes. It went to overtime. Game-tying three-pointer. 4 seconds left in regulation by Morgan DeFore to tie it at 81. A lot of ebb and flow in the overtime, but Scott County holds on for the 96-94 victory, moving to 10-1 on the season now as they head to Lakota West up in Ohio, just outside of Cincinnati, for two games, Thursday, Friday afternoon contests. They'll be playing a couple of Ohio opponents, ones that will, again, try to control the tempo and maybe slow the Lady Cards down below what they like to do as far as ramping up the tempo, ramping up the shot total, getting up and down the floor. So it'll be a good test going forward for Scott County as they look forward to their goals in the second half of this season. So 10-1, played a lot of ranked opponents in that tournament at Lexington Catholic, but the one non-ranked opponent that was probably the toughest one of all was the one that knocked them off. But a big bounce-back victory over Boyd County going into this weekend. Coach Helton had a lot to say about those games. He was excited about the start to the season, but cautiously optimistic. Did not mince words on Friday night after the loss to South Warren. I think he was kind of challenging his team. He knew a few of them would probably read the paper or go online and see what he had to say going into that Boyd County game. And any psychology that was at work there paid off with the big win in the comeback game on Saturday. Let's see what Coach Helton had to say about that tournament, the one that's ahead, and some of the challenges that lie ahead this season.
The Lexington Catholic tournament was a week of ups and downs for the Lady Cards.
Great experience. You know, it was all about, we knew coming in from the first game to the last game, whenever that was, that we were going to be tested. And we needed to see where we were. Hazard, well coached. Really, that they, on paper, we felt like, we should get the game out and let's run and gun. And I compared them to Clay County because they controlled the tempo. And they did for much of the game, and that's what well-coached teams do. And we just, whatever the reason was, we just never did get it going. But we got it going just enough in the third quarter against Hazard to, pull it out. And it was a good win. They went on to win two or three more games. So you're going to hear from them in their region. And then the second game, South Warren, which might be playing, and I know this sounds cliche from a coaching standpoint, but they might be playing the best of anybody in the state. And they might be the team that's least heard of. I knew coming in, their numbers looked incredible. But man, Coach Embry had them playing really well. Everything they did was right, and everything we tried to do was wrong. It was just one of those nights. We couldn't get anything going. And they had everything going. First half. Now, second half, I thought we played better, but when you play good teams at that level, you can't dig a 20-point hole and expect to come back. We did battle. We did some good things second half, but again, it just didn't. It was just one of those nights. It wasn't going to work. Anything we did wasn't going to work, and everything they did was going to work. I was very concerned. I was very worried because we hadn't been in that situation. with this team. And you can always talk about what previous teams did, but this ain't previous teams. And so for us to come back and then for us to pull out a game against Boyd County in the style that we did, I think was just incredible for our kids. You lose a game like that early, it can take you a little bit to get over it. You win a game like that early, you can always come back to we've been here. We haven't been in an overtime game for a while. For a few years, I don't know if we've been in an overtime game. And, offensively, Boyd County could play. We changed some things up defensively, which we usually don't do. And I mean, you almost want to look at your kids and say, we put you on an island. You were on an island by yourself. You weren't given help side because they shot the ball so well. And I believe they still ended up hitting 6 threes. But if we'd have played our normal help side defense, they may have went off for 15 threes. So great win for us. I was really pleased with the kids. We challenged them before the game. It was before the game. We challenged them, and man, they responded. So hopefully this will carry us over. And we'll be able to come back to this sometime in January, sometime in February, and look at, hey, we can do this.
South Warren lived up to its impressive record and offensive numbers in Scott County's initial loss of the season.
South Warren, I'll almost guarantee, I'll almost put a Diet Mountain Dew that they'll be in the top 20 this time. Because I'm telling you, they had a big record coming in, and of course, we don't see South Warren a whole lot because of their schedule. The teams, they stay a lot, in Western Kentucky. I think tournament times, you see a mixture of everything because, number one, teams aren't practicing. Teams are having a game preparation. So you're going game, maybe one day of shoot around, then practice. And so what happens is you get a team that's hot, you get a team that's, shooting the ball well on a certain night. They'll be a team that, 2 or 3 days of practice, they might not be a team. So, I'm not saying that, we played them 10 times. I don't know what would happen. I know it would be very competitive. I would hope it'd be more competitive than what it was the other night. But, right now it's Christmas. I want practice time. The kids want games. And you got to mix that up with the holidays. And, you want your kids to enjoy Christmas. You want them to enjoy New Year's. You want them to enjoy that family time, And so, we're getting a couple of good days of practice in, and we'll move on to our next little stretch. And then, after our Cincinnati trip, we'll settle in for 11 days straight. When we talked about today, so it's getting ready to get busy.
Scott County and Boyd County combined for 190 points in a game that stayed at a high level in tempo throughout.
Pete, we've known each other for years. He does an incredible job. I thought defensively it was a higher level game. Even though, you look at the score, you think that, well, it was just you score, I score. We had some opportunities, and they had some opportunities. We had some big stops. They had some big stops. We had some big rebounds. We got to the free throw line more than we had got to the free throw line, I think, all year, all season long. So, defensively, we had to tweak some things. It was a game where, we told them, you got to guard your yard. And sometimes we did guard our yard and we got to stop. And sometimes, Boyd County just made a better play. And, they either got a shot or they made a shot or a driving kick. And, you got to play the next play. In a game like that, you got to have a short memory. You can't, even from a coaching standpoint, you can't linger on what happened 2 plays ago, even though I think I did a couple times. You got to have a short memory and you got to play on.
2 games in Southern Ohio will wrap up the Christmas break.
Going up to Lakota West, Andy Fishman, we met him, I would say probably 10, 15 years ago in one of the big tournaments down in Fort Myers. We kind of had a relationship there, and a few years later we went up to Pickerington Central where we played them, and they had the big kid that went to Tennessee, and it was just an all-out battle. She had 30 plus points and 20-something plus rebounds on us, and I was tickled. I thought we played well. Great program, and they have a 2-day event, and it's more of a classic event. It's for exposure, so we're hoping to get our kids, number one, to play good competition, number two, to get some exposure. So Centerville, our first opponent, we've played them before. Usually they have a 6'7" kid in the middle somewhere. But this year, I believe 6'1", 6'2" is about what they're looking at. Adam Pfeiffer, again, he and I, we go back for a few years. We've done some home and aways with Centerville. Centerville and Bellbrook both very well coached. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to take the right shot. They're going to take the right shot at the right time. They're going to guard you every possession. Their numbers are deceptive. They're not scoring a lot of points, but they're not giving up a lot of points. And that's for a reason, because they play both ends of the court. Now, Bellbrook on Friday, they'll be a little bigger. They're about 5'11", 6 foot across the board. So both teams, they're going to try to control the tempo. Both games, we're going to try to control the tempo. We need to run, especially, both games. That's just the way we play. So good test for us, out of the friendly confines of our own state, as well a chance for our kids to get some exposure.
Braylee McMath and Michaela Smith have been inspirational leaders for the Lady Cards.
Michaela Smith is coming back off, a terrible injury from last year. A senior, and you got to battle back from a knee injury, and every day Michaela gets better. And from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, it takes time. And I know as a senior you don't have a lot of time, but Michaela is coming in. When she needs to, made some huge plays. She has some huge momentum plays for us early in the season. She's getting better every game. Her conditioning is getting better. Her confidence is getting better. And she can move. She's strong. She's physical. She's probably the most physical player we have. Because anytime we go one-on-one, everyone who gets paired up with Michaela, everybody's like, oh no, you got to go against Michaela, just because of the physicality of it. So just an incredible young lady that is getting better. Braylee McMath, the heart that you said the heartbeat of the team, because I told her coming in the locker room the other night, I told her in a text the other day, she can play for me any day. She's a competitor. She overcomes. She never stops. Tara made the comment, said she's a dream, and she is. She's a dream to coach. She's a point guard that's got fire. She's a point guard that's got leadership. She's a point guard that when you need her to take over, she's going to take over. And so she makes players around her better. And I think that's just an incredible attribute from a point guard at this level. Because you play point at Scott County or you play the rim run at Scott County, you often get called in and we chat. And because, I expect the point guard to know what I'm thinking, and sometimes that's hard to do, especially on the fly. So, both are huge pieces to our puzzle. We talk about this team, we've got puzzle pieces. Without certain pieces, you have missing, it's not a complete puzzle. Braylee and Michaela both, they're those pieces that we can move around and add and take to us. And, our depth, again, is something that I think we've seen at the Christmas tournament. I think it's something we'll see throughout the season. Our depth is really vital to our success.
All right, that was Coach Helton, and he's been juggling all the talent on this team. It's been a lot of hard work to figure out who's supposed to be on the floor at what time. We deal with a couple of players. We talked to a couple of players this week that are part of that equation. Braylee McMath, a freshman, said she was petrified last year, but has certainly taken on a bigger role. She brings the energy. She brings the tempo. She'll come off the bench and spell whoever's playing point guard in that game. She's done a fine job. And Michaela Smith, coming back from a terrifying knee injury, really. You might think as a junior when that happens to you, your career is over, but she has come back as a senior, fought hard to get back in the lineup, and has made some contributions. One in particular, a key win over Cooper early in the year, was she had a block and a basket at the end of the game that helped them hold on for the win. Let's see what Braylee and Michaela had to say about the season to date.
2 out of 3 wasn't a bad ending for the Lady Cards at Lexington Catholic.
Well, I think the first game we really didn't play as good as we really are expected to be, but I think that we battled and we got a good win. And the second game, I don't think that we played as a team at all. That's just my point of view. But I know he was really frustrated in us, and we kind of kind of realized that, wow, we need to step up.
And, the first game went great, got a good win. Second game, didn't play as a whole team, like a family. And third game, we fight back and we got the win.
Smith's late flurry was a key to the season opening win over Cooper.
Worst
I
game
love
in
that
so
game.
long.
Every time when I get in, I hope I block somebody's shot because it's always fun. And I just play, as soon as I get in, I just play my butt off and just try.
McMath brings all-out effort to the floor when she gets a chance to perform at the varsity level.
I'm up for anything. I just do what he wants me to do. I try to just make plays, and I'm a scoring point guard, but I'm also very, very sharing with the ball. I just like to help the team out any way I can, and I know I don't always get the most minutes, but when I do, I just try to get my all and do my best.
This is McMath's second varsity season after breaking through as an 8th grader last year.
I mean, last year I was terrified. I didn't even want to go in the game, but I think getting this experience will make me better in the years to come, and I'm just really glad to be on part of the team.
Scott County expects the Lakota West tournament to be a great springboard to the remainder of its season.
I think going into this tournament, we'll have to have a great mindset, and we'll have to definitely play a lot better than we did against South Warren. But because I know we're gonna have good competition, and we're gonna see they're gonna give us our everything because we're Scott County. But we gotta take ownership and do everything we're supposed to do.
Oh yeah, I believe this year we're going to make it to the championship, hope so, and continue on after I leave.